we'll just do 2 groups, and then like 2 hours, 2-hour blocks or whatever for you guys. That way I can spread you guys out a little bit, or find wherever the other lecture room is that they usually use for lecture. It's probably a little bit bigger, so I might be able to get 16 people in there at one time. Have you guys just spread out, wear your masks, that kind of thing. That's like the biggest issue with like Mr. Gunning and Mr. Graham, is that there's not enough space to have all 32 people at the same time. So supposedly. Yeah, I don't know if that's the problem. Like when I was communicating with Smarter Proctoring, they were saying that in order to me, like for me to like reopen the test, like whenever you got kicked out, it was like, well, you have to do this and this and this and this. Like it was making me put in a password that wasn't required, and I'm just like, this is ridiculous. Like I should be able to just add in like another attempt and just call it. But I had to jump through like 5 different people all day long yesterday while I was at work trying to email them back and forth, thinking I had it figured out. And of course, like last night, it didn't work. So it's just frustrating. So we'll probably just do that on campus, and then we'll figure it out for finals too. We'll probably just do it all on campus, and then hopefully spring will be back to normal. So I feel the frustration from you guys, and like on my side too. I don't also have anybody to like balance these questions off of, so he's not really a whole lot of help for me when it comes to technical problems. So, all right. So we're going to get started. Abdomen and floral pathology. So the whole point of these like doing the pathology stuff is you need to know the definitions and recognize images. If you don't know what you're looking at, you're not going to be able to like really do your job well. I mean, it does take a lot of time eventually to kind of catch on to certain things, but you should be able to identify things right off the bat. Because if, say, a patient's coming in for like a really bad cough and you don't know what TB looks like, it turns out they do have TB. Well, now you've been exposed to TB, so you want to be able to hopefully recognize these things early on. That way, it'll like cut down your exposure as a patient, you know. So pneumoperitoneum is trapped air in the upper right diaphragm and the peritoneal cavity. So obviously the arrow is pointing to where the air is at. So your stomach and the air bubble would be on your left side. This is showing trapped air on the right side. So make sure you know your differences between right and left when you're looking at an image. So Crohn's disease are distended loops of air filled in small intestine. So when you identify your small intestine, obviously it's the longest one. They're obviously smaller than the large intestine because your large intestine would be out here. So you're going to look for these like little distended bowel air-filled areas. So air shows up black. So it shows up black in your abdomen as well as your chest or anywhere else in your body. Somebody might driving that door for me too. Intussusception is really common with children. So you're going to get an air-filled coiled appearance right here in the top of their abdomen. Sometimes it's located in other areas, but this sometimes appears as a crescent shape too. So this is a really good picture of the crescent shape. So if I were to give you this on an exam, obviously that part wouldn't be there, but you would look for like the little pocket of air. So expect when you guys get this test that there's going to be a combination of pictures and definition. This test should obviously be a lot easier too than the other 2 tests that we just took. So, ileus is causes distended abdomen. You'll see this a lot. So anybody that you're doing like post-op imaging on for somebody that had general surgery in their abdomen, you're going to see a lot of inpatients that have ileus and large amounts of air trapped in their large and small intestines. So their belly is going to be super distended, just meaning that it's like just pushed out. They're going to look like a female might look like they're pregnant, and it's really just a bunch of trapped air inside of their abdomen, and it's painful. And a lot of the time, these patients are super uncomfortable. So ulcerative colitis kind of goes along with Crohn's. You'll look for a dilated loop in the colon, air-filled protrusions in the colon wall. So these are just pointing out to like where areas kind of tighten up and then inflate again. All of these are kind of just like differences in how they're affecting the abdomen. Some of these, again, might be harder to identify until you've been attacked for a really long time. because you won't see this like super often. Sometimes it's really hard to diagnose by X-ray. A lot of the time it's CAT scans that kind of rule these out too. So, constipation, you'll see this one a lot in adults and children. Adults that are taking heavy narcotics usually get constipated. So anytime you see a constipated patient, it's always going to appear like fluffy. So you'll see little bits of like black air and stuff trapped in here, but it looks like this little fluffy appearance. So make sure you're able to identify that one. That one's definitely going to be a picture on your exam because you're going to see it all the time. All right, so moving on to like the fluoro stuff. Most of the imaging, like fluoro imaging, esophagram, upper GI, the images kind of correlate with one another based on what the problem of the patient is. So esophagams for achalasia, which is the narrowing of the esophagus. So this is your esophagus, obviously, and you can see where it gets really, really, really tight. This patient's having difficulty swallowing is usually the common cause of that, why they're coming in. But an upper GI study would also show that because we're looking at it swallowing all the way down. Barrett's esophagus, you'll see this one pretty commonly too. It's a stricture or streaked appearance in the distal esophagus. So just at the bottom of the esophagus, again, it'll be narrowing or a streaky appearance, kind of where you'll see the barium going down. I don't know if anybody's identified these yet or seen them doing fluoro rotations, but you'll see that one a lot too. Usually in older people. If you ask them like why they're here, they're like, oh, I've been having problems swallowing. I feel like something's getting stuck. It's usually going to be one of the two. Esophageal varices, narrowing or worm-like appearance of the esophagus. I haven't ever seen this one, but again, I don't do a lot of fluoro at the hospital. So your esophagus kind of just makes this weird worm-like shape. So it's a really good image to look at the test too. Zinker's diverticulum. Your enlarged cavity in the proximal esophagus, so the top of the esophagus towards the head. So it creates this like loop right here in the esophagus, is kind of the indication for that one. These were, so not very often would you find a adult patient that swallowed something that's kind of like an ill-defined mass, but kids swallow a lot of things. I did post-op imaging on a kid that ate all the hair off her Barbie dolls. So she had a big giant hairball in her stomach. So that would be an example of a Bezoar. So you're going to look for like a weird texture right here in the stomach. So they would do an upper GI series. Obviously, we're focusing on that stomach area, something that's not going to digest well is what we're looking for. So that hair would obviously just sit there and clump up until they take it out with surgery. Diverticula is the outpouching in the mucosal wall. So you're going to look for these weird, again, outpouches, just like the other diverticula that was on here. Gastritis, it's pretty much just like, you can see the rugae a lot in the stomach, which is like the stomach lining, that like weird wrinkly texture. But you're looking for that thin line of the stomach wall. That's going to be your good indication there. I was trying to find one that didn't have the rugae appearance, but that was really hard to find. So it's a really super short lecture. So.
You're having a quiz on the radiographs and a test?
No, we're having just a test on this.
Okay.
Yeah. So the next test is going to be chest pathology, abdomen path, like this one. And then we're going to do another one next week of like fractures and stuff like that. Just of like upper extremity. Well, actually, no, I probably will include everything. But we're going to go through all the different types of like normal common fractures that you're going to see on a day-to-day basis, like spiral, green stick, that kind of stuff. Heather, I'll probably be up here until about 11 o'clock. So we're done with lecture today. So anybody that's like here in class, you guys can go ahead and focus in the lab. Make sure you're preparing for the practical. And then anybody at home, if you guys want to go ahead and come up now, I'm probably only going to stay until about 11 o'clock because I have to work later today. So.
Any questions at home, guys? I don't know if you guys heard me earlier, but the third test is going to be on what we covered last week, this week, and what we cover next week. And then I'm likely going to host the test on campus on the 24th instead of giving you guys that Tuesday off. You're just going to come up here and take the test. And then I'll post the times. So. Yeah, Group C takes the quiz on Thursday. Forgot we, wait. Yeah, because then next week you guys switch back. No, we're not doing lower extremities this semester, Marissa. No, the quiz is going to be on what I posted on the announcements last week, like upper extremity stuff. Some of the test questions might be similar to what you see on your quiz. Yeah, Heather, anatomy stuff. Oh, Carrie, the quiz is just upper extremity. It's on the announcement. So if you haven't taken your quiz yet, that's what I'm talking about. The third lecture test is going to be on the radiographs that we've been going over. Okay. Any more questions at home? If not, I'm going to close this out and they're going to take their quiz here in class. Shannon, I don't know what your question is. No, Graylin. I'm not posting lectures. Most of these lectures haven't recorded, so that's why none of the lectures are online. What? Oh, no, you have a piece of paper here. What? So Ashley B, you should have already taken your quiz last week. So A and B took their quizzes last week. C and D take their quizzes this week. Yeah, so if you guys haven't already taken your lab quiz at home, then that means that you're taking it, I guess, next week. I thought everybody's already taken it.
Yeah. Yeah. I just remember the saying.
Oh, I forgot I changed the. Never mind, correction. You guys do actually have a radiograph quiz coming up too. Sorry, I forgot I changed the syllabus. It's going to be on your upper extremities that we've already covered through the elbow. Yeah, sorry. I forgot I changed it. It's not going to be the pathology stuff. It's going to be on actual radiographs of from like your fingers to your elbow.
The ones on our slide.
Yeah, the ones that are on your PowerPoint. Sorry, I completely forgot that I changed everything around.
Oh, no, I was okay with you saying you didn't have it, so I was like, okay.
No, because then I would have looked at the I have to follow the syllabus too, because like my brain's like all over the place all the time. Yes, Catherine, there's still pathology tests. That's lecture test 3. So pathology test is lecture test 3. Radiograph quiz is fingers to elbow. So Heather, your next quiz is radiographs of finger to elbow. Yes, you need to know positioning and anatomy for it because that can all be covered. And yes, Jasmine, the pathology test will be likely in person on 11/24. I'll make an announcement once that's completely confirmed so I can figure out where to host it or what times to host it. So do I. Where do you think I got the quizzes from? My printer's still